someone else. I've got, y'all got everything. On the list. Well then, did we get red, white, and blue last July 3rd? Okay, there it is. And also there's a Veterans Moving Mall, if you hadn't heard, Memorial Day, May 26th to the 29th.
Mr. Mayor, first thing I'd like to do is, I'm not going to dwell on this very long, but under the circumstances, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to apologize to my colleagues up here, to staff, and actually to this audience. But some things just need to be said sometime. I don't know if any of you all saw the Saxe News, not last week, but the week before, when the bottom left-hand corner above the fold said Election Day Friday. And I knew right then that will probably restricted them from an Amos or a McKinney Award. But the following paper last week, the election paper, the paper were traditionally, and I'd be saying this if I was not involved, if it was one of my colleagues or two of my colleagues, the election story, which is normally who won, what happened, comments from the councilmen who won their seats, just the usual stuff, some of it maybe even fluff. You know, we're working hard and what have you. Everybody knows that. Everyone should know that anyway. But out of 18 3/4 inches, column inches, of our election story, 3 3/8 inches were devoted to the re-election of myself and Councilman Paul Watkins, which, by the way, congratulations, Councilman. 15 3/8 column inches were devoted to 3 speakers from citizen input who had the right to speak, who spoke last week, and before the election, I might add, spoke at the last council meeting, I apologize. And what we were talking about, and I apologize again, is Facebook. And basically the 15 3/8 inches that were devoted to the quote, election column was a total castigation of myself. The statements were true, that was said, but what was not said and what no one contacted me for any clarity on before going with this story was what was the context of everything around it that created these statements, because there's a whole lot more to it. I was not given the chance to clarify any of that. In fact, when I started reading the story, I immediately went to page 2 and 3 because I was looking for the story of the Houston Astros are off to such a great start because aliens had taken over the team and are now in Astro uniforms. Because I thought I was reading the National Enquirer based on this story. It was wrong, totally unprofessional. And I've had so many people, many citizens contact me going, what is this? What is going on? So I'm going to end this with, this council knows what we're doing. This staff works hard accomplishing our visions that we've put forward to them in our planning and planning sessions. The city's moving forward. There's a whole lot of stuff being done behind the scenes that a lot of people aren't even aware of. I'm not talking secret. The city is very transparent. But it's time, at this point in time, to move forward. Everything else is behind us. It's done. It's time to move forward, be positive, which this council is, our staff is, and I think our citizens that are involved with what's going on have a pretty good idea, believe it or not, that we know what we're doing. And our staff does above and beyond implementing what council has asked them to do and to accomplish in regards to their goals. So it's time to move in this Vietnam Wall thing. Perfect opportunity. opportunity to be a symbol of Saxy moving forward, not mired in all of this social media crap, and I'm using a nice word. There's children in here. But it's time to move forward and think positive and look at the positive that's happening, because it's happening. A lot of it's not seen yet, but believe me, there's stuff in the works right now that when it starts kicking off, it's going to be good for the city, our citizens, and people will know that this particular council, who I think is, I've had other councils, and no offense to anyone on other councils, I personally think this is the best council we've had since I've been up here. And again, for Councilman Watkins, and I'm not speaking for him, I'm just mentioning him, and myself, to not even be acknowledged. And I would say the same thing if it was Mayor Pro Tem Ross and Councilman King. If that story had come out in the same form and fashion that last one did, I would be up here saying the exact same thing. This isn't about me. It's about the city. We represent the city and our citizens. So that's all I have to say about this, but it needed to be said. If the Saxy News wants to go back and look at the tape of this over and over to get my statement verbatim, like was done during the 3 speakers during citizen input, in the paper, verbatim, nobody can write that fast, trust me folks, then feel free to print it. I don't really care at this point because I'm not concentrating on social media. I'm off of social media now because we have a job to do. I don't need the distractions. So I appreciate your time again. I'm sorry I even had to go into this. Sometimes things have to be said. And this was one of those times. That's all I have, Mayor.
Item 173805, recognize the winners